you need a hand, I can get someone. Hey everybody, Kyle here with Spicer Designs. Welcome back to the channel. Nothing funny today, except for this little guy right here. He's not so little anymore. He's actually getting pretty big. And all he does is lay on the front porch all day. Don't you, buddy? Don't you? He's actually turned out to be a really, really good dog. We got pretty lucky with him. He has not had one accident in the house. It's been about, I think 3 weeks maybe. He does a lot. Most of the time he does it right here in the gravel. Anyways, to the point of the video, this is gonna be kind of an update. I have been working hard behind the scenes. I'm gonna show you some of the things that I've been working on that I have not been filming. And we will be working on a project today. We'll get to that later. So anyways, let's get started. Now the last video I posted, we were working on this rock wall and I got it a little bit further. Basically, wow, he's awfully athletic. Got it a little bit further. This is about as far as I want to go because the concrete stairs are going to come down here and then I'll bring the wall into that. And then I have some other work to do once it's in. Pond area is still looking like I will get to it soon enough. Now, as most of you know that have been watching the channel, this area right here is where my septic field is. This right here is an access for my distribution box that I replaced. This was actually the very first project that I did when we bought the place. The distribution box had completely failed and caved in. This septic field was installed in 05, so it's really not that old. But I have officially determined that my septic field, or my leach field, is totally f***ed. I opened up that distribution box the other day, the access, and the box was completely full of liquids, which tells me that the septic field is not draining, and there's actually an overflow in this that the original owner put in, which is probably not supposed to be there, but thankfully it is. Otherwise it would have backed up into the house. I did a couple of test holes. I figured out what kind of system is in place here. It's one of those dome style fingers, and from what I've gathered, they're kind of a crappy system. They do still install those today. Not sure why. Maybe in certain areas they're better fit for that, but for here in this tacky clay soil, I don't think it's the best setup. I did get a little bit of help in consulting from a friend of mine, Ryan Genovese with Genovese Excavating. Good dude. He installs septic systems and he gave me some good insight. So right now I do have a plan moving forward. Next on the list, we are over here by the kids playset area. You can see I have this all formed out now. This is all just scrap lumber. Doesn't have to look pretty. This is just for footings. I have to put the rebar in today. That's what we're gonna be working on. I got a big pile of it up there. What the hell are you doing? It's a freaking plastic, hey, drop it, bad. The cinder block is about 8 inches tall with the mortar. So right here, I have a 24-inch difference over here and on the other end. So I'll have 3 layers of block and then 1 layer of block on that top section. And this will give me roughly around a 3-foot tall retaining wall. Shouldn't be too big. It may completely fail, I don't know. Here's another angle. I had to cut a little relief ditch in here so that this wouldn't fill up with water. It is all nice and dry right now for the most part. That is all virgin clay right there, so I should have a really good base that we'll be pouring this on. Again, this is all just pieced together. It just needs to hold concrete. And I have some perforated tile with a sock on it. I'm going to have a ton of drain tile going in here to catch all this water. On the inside, everything will lead its way down into that ditch down there. There's a little creek. So I should have really good drainage here, which in addition will keep water diverted away from the new leach field. So unfortunately, I thought I was starting to see the finish line there, the whole leach field thing, and now I have even more work to do. So that mess is gonna get a little bit bigger and it's gonna take a little bit longer, but I'll get it done. If I'm gonna do it, this is the time. Now, let's take a look at the barn. All right, as most of you know, we have completely removed all of the old walls and framing that were in here. I really wish this thing could be gone with just a snap of my finger. Oh, damn it. And I've completely reframed all of this. So the last video I posted, I framed up this wall and that back wall. That back wall's on 2-foot centers, and that is so that I can utilize all of the insulation stacked up right there. That is 2 foot. I would have to pay to throw that away and then pay to buy new stuff, so I would like to utilize it. And I'm also going to utilize that 2-foot insulation on the ceiling. I got the whole ceiling framed. I used a laser level, so it is all perfectly level on the same plane. And I have 2x6s going that way I sistered up the truss. I've got joist hangers, and then I also did 2x4s going the other way, kind of acting like almost like a hog's trough. And then I have 1.5" foam board on top of that, and I'll put insulation underneath here. And up top here, I completely sheeted the whole floor or the whole ceiling up here. So we do have some extra storage just for some larger, lighter objects, nothing too heavy, which is nice to have. And in order to access that, I have an access right there. I will put a sliding kind of barn door right there. Moving over to the back where the loft is, I got all of this sheeted. I've got my doorway right here, and same deal as the access over there. I'm gonna build a sliding door that will slide over and hit that truss. I'm going to be installing a basketball hoop right here for the girls to play. I'll be able to pull the equipment out of here and they can play right here inside, which will be really nice. But my problem is this garage door. The rail sticks out. So my plan is to actually lengthen the vertical tracks, which will then bring the door in a little bit. I'm hoping to get the end of that door even with that truss, which will leave this bay completely open for them to shoot around. And I will be making a video on that. I do have a plan. I actually spoke with my dad and got some insight from him. He has done a lot of overhead door work. He was an iron worker for 42 years. He had some good ideas that we're going to be incorporating into that, and it should work out pretty well. Lots of projects going on over here and lots of things happening off camera. Unfortunately, it just takes too much time to film everything. Now you'll notice behind me, that is the access door for the storage area, and you'll see these rails right here. Now, when I sheeted this wall, I put these unistrut rails in here, and that is going to be for an elevator. I'm going to be making a platform and using a hoist, and there's going to be an elevator that will actually go up and lead you into that storage area. The nice thing about this elevator is I won't have any stairs or ladders in the way, kind of taking up space right here. I'll be able to leave that platform in the elevated position, and that way I could still pull the zero turn out right here, and I won't have anything blocking that area. That project is still down the road a little ways, but it's just something to look forward to if you're interested in that. It should be a really cool build. And you can see here I have a stack of 7/16 OSB. I'm going to be using that here this week and getting all of this sheeted. That's going to take about 16 sheets. And then I'm going to start working on sheeting this back wall, getting some of this insulation on the ceiling. So that's basically what I've been doing off camera. I've got a lot of stuff going on over here. Just kind of give you an update. But for right now, what I need to do is get back on the footings for the play set. I want to get all that rebar in there, get it all bent up, tie wired up, and hopefully get that poured this week and maybe even in the end of this video. All right, so what we've got here is a bunch of rebar. This is 1/2 inch by 20 foot long. I picked these up from Menards and they cost a little under $6 a stick, which really wasn't bad. And I picked up a rebar bender. This is like the cheapest version of it that you can get. It's just a big cheater bar with a flat plate welded to it, and it's got 3 prongs just so you can kind of grab it and bend it. So probably pretty similar to a conduit bender, which I'm very familiar with. So this shouldn't be a problem bending this stuff up. So I'm going to use my DeWalt Portaband, and I'm going to cut 22 16-inchers, drive them into it so I have somewhere to mount my horizontal rails. I'm going to put 2 sticks of rebar all the way through the whole footing. That seems to be the most common method, and this is just for a freaking glorified retaining wall. I mean, there's really nothing that structural about it, so I'm not too worried about it. Anyways, I say anyways a lot. Oh, I feel like my butt crack's hanging out. All right. Uh-oh. That's not good. Coming off? Oh, it's broke. Damn it. Broken blade. Okay, new blade. And, like always, death. So you got a nice little crack right there.
There, come here.
I got excited too.
Hi. Yeah, you miss your mommy. You miss your mommy.
All right, so my footing trench averages around 9 to 10 inches deep all the way around. Some areas are deeper. It should be typically around 12 inches, but this, again, this isn't for a building. This is just for a retaining wall, and we're roughly around 18 inches wide. So we're wider than normal, but we're a little bit shallower. I have my reasons for it. I don't need to get real specific on all this because frankly, it's not a building. So I'm gonna go 4.5 inches in from one side and 4.5 inches in from the other side. And we should be about 9 inches in between, 8.5, whatever. So I'll put all these stakes up throughout here, and then I can start tie wiring my rebar horizontally to this. Damn it! Okay, this bender, pretty self-explanatory. It's not like it makes super accurate bends, or super precise bends. You just stick it in a fork, however you want. Just start bending. Now, rebar is absolute crap steel, according to my dad. Again, iron worker for 42 years. He's tied a lot of rebar.
I don't give a
Said that it's very high carbon, very brittle. You don't ever want to weld on it. That's a big no-no. And he said, be careful when you're bending it because it could snap and that bender will smack you right in the face. So, duly noted. Something like that. Oh shit, did I not make that long enough? Dummy. Should have had more overlap there. Rookie mistake. All right, now we've got our tie wire. The professionals have a nice little spool holder and they just kind of peel it off the spool, zip it around. It's actually ridiculous how fast they do this. Pretty talented guys. Me, not so much. If you do this for a living, you'll probably laugh at me, but that's okay. I don't do this all the time. I'm guessing there's some kind of a distance of overlap that you have to keep the structural integrity. I don't know what that is, so I'm not gonna splice this. I'm gonna rebend that one. All right, I've got all the rebar in. Down here I got a nice little Z bend, I guess, right there, with a little bit of overlap all the way down and around. You get the point. So now I'm going to pull some measurements on all the forms so I know where to place some of the vertical rebar to go through the open cells of the cinder block and where to cut in my keyway on top of the footing. And then we just gotta wait for concrete. We've got the Keystone girl sporting a nice tan already.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, she does have tan lines.
I do.
Breaking the rules, but we're working on it. And we got Dozer eating random shit in the yard, probably getting some ticks on him. Good boy. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
They said it's for two people to do it, so it's a little awkward.
Wait, just hold it and I want to throw a ball in there.
Falling on me.
If you need a hand, I can get someone. I got a new tool. As some of you know, I love my laser level. I use it all the time, but it just doesn't work outside. You can't see the laser. So when I was at Menards, I picked up this pretty decent rotary laser, or transit, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty beefy. Yes, self-leveling rotary laser. Very nice carrying case. It's got the receiver on there. I've already got the stick and the tripod, and then it's got a remote for it as well. And it's got a rechargeable battery, which is nice. Nice foam padding inside here, so pretty excited about this. I already used it to set all my elevations on the forms. It worked perfectly. I had been stacking up some of my rebates, the 11% off rebates from Menards, so that thing, I saved some money on it. Well, not really. I mean, I paid for it, but yeah, it was about 520 or 30 bucks. Not cheap, but also not the most expensive transit or rotary laser that you can get, so whatever. Yeah, I'll keep trying to pull it because it's going to be probably a little tight of reach for that corner. I'll take another little bump and I'll smooth it out. That's good. That's pushing up. Ah, shit, it just broke loose. I'm not an expert, so I figured just wing it, I guess. But I got some wood on there and some rocks. It should help. I don't need a smooth finish. I want it to be as porous as possible so the mortar adheres well. There's plenty of f***ing concrete, that's for sure. I gotta cut a keyway in this too. Alright, that took about 45 minutes to pour that. 4 yards of concrete cost me $657, which is pretty damn cheap. It's just over 150 bucks a yard. And from what I've gathered, that's actually a pretty good price. I've not poured a lot of concrete besides sonotubes when you pour pole bases for light poles and chargers and random like that as an electrician. One thing I learned today, try to get a helper because this is too much to do by yourself. Number two, pour your offsets first because of this contraption. They kept blowing out constantly. The concrete does set up pretty quick, enough to hold it, but definitely don't go shy on the screws to hold your plywood and all that together because I had a couple of close calls. So I definitely learned something. Hopefully you learned something from this as well. Ideally, just hire someone. But I'm a stubborn asshole and I like to do everything myself. I am leaving it a little bit heavy because I'm assuming as it dries out and that water evaporates out of it that it is going to settle down a little bit. Awesome. Really great idea. Throw a bunch of mud in here. It's gonna go get its friends and come back and sting the shit out of me. All right, well, it is the next day. I am drenched in sweat and I don't know if I pissed myself or if that's sweat. I'm really not sure at this point. But what I can tell you is this shit isn't getting any easier. I am 38 years old. I'll be 39 in a couple months, July. And I've been doing this stuff since I was 21. Not pouring concrete, but just remodeling, working on my house, whatever. This is the fourth one now. And it is definitely not getting easier. So, I don't know. So I have all of the forms stripped. That was probably just as hard as installing them, especially when that concrete overflows onto the forms and in between the dirt and the form, and you have to chisel it all out of there. And because of my OCD, I cannot leave any board or any stake left behind. And you can see here I have quite the mess right now, so I have to go through this, pull all the screws out of these boards, try to save the straight ones for some other concrete jobs, and get all this crap put away so I can continue moving forward. All right, let's take a quick gander at how this looks. I mean, these are forms, so it's not the prettiest concrete job. It doesn't have to be. It's all gonna be covered in dirt, but overall, they came out pretty nice. And all of that rebar that's sticking up, I actually measured out where all the open cells would be on the cinder block. That rebar should go right through the open cells, but in the back of my head, I know that some of them, or maybe all of them, won't, because that's just how it goes. So I'm gonna be cleaning all this up, adding some drain tile. I've gotta open up my overdig a little bit more so I can get some drain tile in there. And in case you're wondering, Kyle, did you put a sleeve in for the drain tile? I did. You can see right down there, those blocks, there's 3 2x6s stacked, and that is where the drain tile is gonna poke through, and then it'll work its way down into this small little swale, which eventually goes to a creek back there. One lesson learned was when you have an offset like that, pour the offsets first, let that concrete start setting up, pour the rest of your forms, and then come back to them later, because those things blew out on me a couple of times, and I had to stack a bunch of boards up right there and put rocks on top of it, whatever I could do so that we could finish that pour. It was a bit of a pain in the ass, but again, just a homeowner. I don't do concrete for a living, but I give you guys a lot of credit that do, because this is not easy work. It's only noon. I feel like I want to go inside and take a nap already. I think I might have a hernia, I don't know. So next step is drain tile. I'm gonna work on getting all that drain tile in. I'm not gonna film it, but I will show you what it looks like when it's all done. I gotta get some 3/4 clean delivered here so I can backfill this and get ready to start blocking this. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, I know I did not, please hit the like button, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Shouldn't have done that. I think I pulled an abdomen again. You ever wake up in the morning feeling like you just got hit by a Honda Ridgeline? Well, it's 2 days later, and that's about how I feel right now. So really pretty good. In case you haven't picked up on it, I don't f around. Fucking Ridgeline. Who would buy one of those things?